True, false about the biological explanations for deviance, criminal behavior. 2 is multiple choice by the word about the word innovation as it comes from strain theory, innovation. 3 is true, false about where crime takes place. 4 is multiple choice about white collar crime. Crime done by professional people, usually. 5 is multiple choice about the theories of what causes crime. It's called Merton's theory of anomie, Marxist theory, and labeling theory, all of which we covered. 6 through 14 are matching. So it goes A, B, C, D, E, A and B, A and C, A and D, and A and E. And I'll repeat these twice. So I'll give you an example, match it up with the kind of crime it is. Violent, property, organized, white collar, cyber. The cyber is that variety of white collar crime which involves computers or hacking. Right now we have a president who might be going down because of that sort of thing. We don't know yet what's going to come out of this whole Mueller investigation, but although for what it's worth, right now he's apparently in more trouble from the investigation into his private life than into his political corruption. There's all these things about paying millions of government money to silence prostitutes that he's been involved with. So if that's true, it could be even worse for him. Okay, and then getting back, A and B is juvenile, and then status offenses, terrorism, and then in quotes, victimless. So once again, violent, property, organized, white collar, cyber, juvenile, status offenses, terrorism, and then in quotes, victimless. So remember, status offenses are those crimes for which only juveniles can be arrested. They're not the only for a juvenile crime, but status offenses are those things which would not be illegal if they were older: drinking, staying away from school, in some places curfew. Does this town have a curfew for kids that are under 16?
Yeah, there's
Really? Okay. In Phoenix, they didn't have that, at least not when I was growing up. But in some towns, if you are under a certain age, you can't be out. And you can be out, at a friend's house, but you're not supposed to be out on the streets. And you could technically get arrested, but you wouldn't be arrested if you were older. So it's just, for young people. Okay, that takes you up to 15. 15 is true, false about the Supreme Court and guns. Now, keep in mind, I have a little hint here. The italicized word is always, so the court has not always had the same point of view that it does today. 16 is multiple choice about methods of execution, capital punishment in the U.S. today. 17 is multiple choice about capital punishment. 18 through 29 are another big matching, so it's A, B, C, D, E, A and B, A and C, A and D, A and E, B and C, B and D, B and E. And again, I'll repeat these. The choices are alcohol, opium, peyote, morphine, heroin, meth, that's short for methamphetamines, PCP, amphetamines. Keep in mind, meth is just one form of amphetamine. Marijuana, barbiturates, those are the downers, the sleeping pills, crack, and LSD. So once again, alcohol, opium, peyote, morphine, heroin, meth, PCP, amphetamines, marijuana, barbiturates, crack, and LSD. Any questions so far? Are you with me? Okay, 30 is multiple choice about narcotics. 31 is multiple choice about marijuana. 32 is true-false about the government's war on drugs. I just want to add what I said to that today. It's costing us a lot of money, but it is not doing much to get rid of either drug usage or drug pushers, and that's one of the reasons why there has to be some change. There's different debates about which way that change should go, but we're not winning this this battle for to end drug abuse. 33 is true-false about the European way of handling things. 34 is true-false about the practice of law, criminal law. I'll give you a little hint here. Just because you're innocent doesn't mean that you don't need a lawyer, because if the government thinks you're guilty, you need someone who is skilled in the law and in court procedures to protect you from getting a jail sentence or even worse. So we try, in general, with some obvious cases of corruption and racism, in general, the people that are arrested are usually guilty, but keep in mind that if it does get that far as you're actually arrested and formally charged, an innocent person needs a lawyer just as much as a guilty person does. Don't ever try to make the mistake of trying to be your own lawyer. You have the constitutional right, but it's usually, there's an old saying, a lawyer who takes his own case has a fool for a client and an idiot for a lawyer. So keep that in mind. It's just like trying to operate on yourself. You wouldn't want to do that. Okay, 35 is true-false about plea bargaining. 36 is multiple choice about private prisons. 37 is multiple choice about prostitution. By the way, a male prostitute, anyone know the term for that? Exactly, yeah. And we had, let's say, some of them at the state hospital. One guy he wasn't at the state hospital, he was just at another place where I worked, and they introduced me and said, my name is Jim, you can call me Jim the Jig. I said, what? He says, Jim the Jig. I said, what does that mean? He says, I'm a gigolo for part-time. I says, are you serious? He says, make more money that way than I do in this job. I said, okay, great. So he was one of the exceptions. He wanted to be in it. We had another exception was this girl at State Hospital, Mary. She was 15, looked 27, and she was she was 17 and looked 27, but she called herself a madam and a businesswoman. She had an army of teenage girls working for her. She took a percentage of their profits, although a very minimum percentage. She wanted them to make their own living. And she had a business card and a menu of services offered, and frequent user discounts and free get-acquainted offers. When I was doing the intake on her, she got the idea I didn't quite approve her, and she said, let me interrupt for a minute. Do you drive a Porsche? And I said, no. Do you live in a penthouse? I said, no. I do. She says, when you can match that, right? So you make $100,000 a year? I said, no. Well, you can do all these things, come back and argue about my lifestyle. She was one of the exceptions. She actually was quite proud of being, and the only rate she got caught, did I tell you about how she got caught? Oh, apparently I didn't. I don't want to bore you again, but she, what?
Half and half.
Yeah. I don't even know what that meant, but she says this guy complained he was supposed to get half and half, and I told him he was only doing half, so only got half, and he called the police and had her arrested. Does anybody know what half and half is? It's been since 1984, and I still don't know what that was all about. So, what?
I could guess.
Really? Okay, well, maybe don't say it. That'd be appropriate. Anyway, okay, the 38 is multiple choice about the 3 schools of sociology and how they would regard prostitution.
What was 37?
37 is multiple choice about different kinds of prostitutes. Okay, 38, the schools of thought and how they regard prostitution. 39, using the same choice is another question about the same thing, using the same choices is 38. And 40 is the same thing, again, using the same choices. Okay, we're almost done. 41 is true-false about teen prostitution, both boys and girls. 42 is multiple choice about an aspect of prostitution. 43 is using the same choices about the choices are states, but it has to do with execution, capital punishment, rather than prostitution. 44 is true false about child pornography. By the way, that is illegal everywhere in the United States. And right here in town, you probably heard about the saga of Father Bob, who got arrested for that and removed from his priestly functions. 46 is true false about what we call difficult babies. 47 is true false about labeling theory. By the way, backing up to 46, remember what I said, that most kids are resilient no matter what kind of, whether you're easy, slow to warm up, or difficult, you will tend to end up as a normal kid, normal adult. But of those that don't end up normal, the people who are difficult are represented far out of proportion to their presence in society as a whole.
What was 45?
45 was true false about teen prostitutes. Oh, no, excuse me, about
45.
45. Okay, that would be about poor women.
Poor woman?
Poor women and luring into prostitution, especially foreigners. 47, true false about labeling theory. 48, true false about drug cartels in Latin America. 49, true false about child soldiers. And 50, something we didn't really cover that. I'm going to give it to you now. It's kind of a giveaway. 50 is about the 3 strikes law, something we still have in California. What it means is if you are convicted for the 3rd time of a felony, they have the right to put you in jail for life. So it's called 3 strikes and you're out. And California, although it's progressive in other ways, it's one of the things. That's why there are some people in this state serving huge sentences, some of them up to life, some of them like 20, 30 years, for a 3rd drug offense because it was considered a felony. And they got arrested for several of them. Okay, so Lena? 49 was true false about child soldiers. Other questions? Okay, I got you out of pretty much in time. Ashlyn and John, if you'll stay with me, we're going to go rescue some books. Ashlyn, never mind. The dean's going to handle it personally. Okay. Which is fine with me. Oh, Brenda, hi. I'm sorry. You were just talking about what happened. I got this phone call about 2 minutes before class. I couldn't handle it, so you're going to do it.
So I need to talk with you about that. Yeah, students shouldn't be involved in that at this moment. Yeah.
I'm free now if you want to talk.
Okay. Well, can I follow you back to your office?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just turn off the computer so Jennifer can use it.
Hey, girl. Are you doing good? Good, good. I'm not awesome. Yeah.
I can give extra credit, but if you're absent, if you're showing absence, I'll understand. I'm pretty clean, but I can give extra credit. It's not a full event, but I totally understand. Let me know if you have to show an animal, and I'll know what's happening. But make sure you get some notes from somebody. Oh, sure, I'll get it.
Good, good, yeah. What kind of slush?
Yes, tomorrow. Okay, sorry, I just want to take care of the computer before Jennifer has to use it.
Oh, you're going to give that to the...
I will, I promise. I'll take over like I always do. I'll have it over there for you by the end of today.
Are you in class tomorrow?
Yeah, I have to.
Okay, yeah, follow me. I'll tell you what. No, it's not. Somebody leave their phone up here. I'll let them record their review session. Somebody leave a phone up. Maybe we should turn it into loss of phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're recording.